Hello, friends. Welcome to Squared Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be creating my faith planner setup for the month of September. We'll be decorating my monthly and weekly pages in a color-filled seasonal theme, so come plan with me. And I've got some washi tapes here ready to go, along with some brush tip markers, these clear stamps and stamping blocks, some PET tape sticker sets, and this sticker set from Hobby Lobby, which I'll pull from. Okay, let's go ahead and work out the weekly designs first here on this one spread. And I'm just laying down some wax paper in case you've never seen one of my videos. I do that so that I can move the stickers around a bit and kind of work out the design before I commit them to paper. This is also really helpful because I'm going to be planning out all 4 weeks and their design here on this one spread, and then transfer them over off the wax paper to the individual weeks when we're done. So I have this set of leaf stickers from Journal Say that I just picked up, along with this set of background kind of splotchy stickers. And I thought that they actually went pretty well together as far as the colors and just the vibes. So we're going to try and combine them and see how they turn out. I was thinking sort of like a really bright, light rainbow color scheme for this, more as a transitional theme instead of a more traditional fall theme, since September is really how we start getting into fall feels, but the majority of the month isn't actually fall yet. So the leaves are to bring in that fall idea and the slight color change in the leaves as well. But overall, I still wanted it to have a little bit more of a bright, summery vibe to it, which I think these stickers work perfectly for that. So I'm putting in, like I said, the 4 weeks here, just trying to create some clusters. Looks like 2 leaves per cluster is going to be the best fit. And then I'm trying to match up the colors of the splotchy stickers with whatever leaves are in there, or adding in color with those, just kind of depending on what I have. I'll also be adding in one of the black and white stickers as a quote on each of these. And then I thought it might be cool to add in a bit more color with the washi tape. So I have put in a little sample there in the bottom right corner, and you can see how I plan to layer up the 2 washi tapes I'll be using and the quote as well. So the very soft gradient toned washi tape came from Daiso, which I bought in person. They're not online, or at least they're not currently. They used to be, but then they stopped selling online for some reason. So if you don't have one nearby you, unfortunately, you'll probably have a hard time finding that exact washi. But I really like it. It's got a really soft gradient of color and, again, works perfectly with this color scheme. I also have this very splotchy rainbow washi as well, which I think ties back to the splotchy die cut stickers I'm using as well. Adding that in, and there's just like a slight bit of black dot texture in that washi, which I thought was perfect to pull in the black from the quote. So I'm going to layer those 2. I had pulled a third washi of a really fine micro dot kind of pattern. I don't think I really need it. I think it takes away a little bit from the overall effect. So I think I'm just going to put that to the side and save that and see if I like it without. So like I said, I'm building out these clusters for each of the weeks. They'll all go in the top left corner, which says this week. And like I said, they're just set up here on the wax paper, so I could just do it all at once without having to reset the wax paper each time. I'm trying to be careful not to layer up the leaves too much because they are very transparent. They're almost like a stained glass kind of effect when you see them, so they really show through whatever is behind them pretty easily. So I'm trying not to use too many leaves layered up because I think it will really detract, and also trying not to have them touch if I don't really have to. There's only a few spots where I can really see the overlay very clearly, but for the most part, I try to avoid it whenever possible. So I pulled this set of leaf stickers and I thought this might be a cool way to add a little bit more texture to the background. I am setting up a couple of them with these clear stamping blocks I have in my stash. I think I got these leaves either on maybe Stationery Pal or Easy Craft Art. So I'll try to link it down below. Everything that I'm using here, if I have a link for it, will be linked down below. And I'll even list it even if I don't have a link, because sometimes things go out of stock and what have you, but you may want to track it down some other place. I didn't pull any ink because I thought I would use those brush pens to add the color directly onto the stamp, but really just didn't like how that was turning out. The leaf outline was a little too vague, and I think the design of the leaves is built that way where it's a little bit more fragmented, and I didn't really like the look of that when I tried it out. I'm also trying it with a little bit of extra water with the ink to see if that helps smooth out some of that fragmentation I was seeing, and it just didn't look how I wanted it. So I decided to forgo the stamping. I don't think that was a big deal. I think it has a lot going on with the mix of the washi tapes and the textures and the stickers and everything. So I don't think it was a huge loss to not really find a way to incorporate those stamps. So right now I've went ahead and started moving over those clusters to the spreads, starting with the first week. And then I'll just continue doing that as we go along for each of the weeks, just making adjustments on the page itself. I am going to trim any stickers that kind of cut over into the week, just to keep it nice and clean and contained within that this week box. I use the weeklies for lettering, which I actually haven't done the last 2 months. I've decided not to include those for July and August because I was really busy in July. And then in August, I just needed a little extra time to finish some things up. But I'm ready to get started back at my faith planning again in September. So this part should go pretty fast. I can move over the clusters all in one piece most of the time and then just need to trim them down. So not a lot of time here on the actual movement onto the spread. I think this one here is the last one. Just doing the quick trimming, using my little sticker spatula to just cement everything down, and then my precision cutter and ruler to trim. We have the weeklies done, so let's move on to the monthly. I feel pretty comfortable with the way that I was building out these layouts, so I'm just gonna skip the wax paper and go for it. The die cut stickers have a backing, so I can move them around a little bit without actually putting them on the page right from the get-go, which is nice. So I think I'll be comfortable enough to plan things out just using those die cut stickers, figuring out how I want the layout to go. I went ahead and whited out all of the empty boxes for the month just to give myself a nice clean area for the decor. And now I'll work out how I want these stickers to flow in. I use my monthly for my takeaway. I do a daily Bible reading. I read through the Bible once a year, and I track the verses that I read or the chapters that I read each day in here, as well as some sort of application for my life from that reading. So that's how I use it. I usually try to fill up each day with my application, so I do need a pretty good amount of functional space in there. And I try not to overwhelm any decor in the actual days of the month. So with that, I've kind of worked out how I want to put decor in the sidebar and here at the bottom. And I'll start committing stickers now to the page. I've got this nice quote that I think will work well in this longer section. And then I will save any of these larger trimmings in case I can use them somewhere else. The theme's been fairly minimal as far as extra stuff. And the clusters, like I said, I don't want to have too much layering of leaves on top of leaves because of how transparent they are. And so I probably will just save those for another spread. I've added in a splotchy sticker there at the bottom to add that to the cluster similar to the weeklies. Also the washi tape I've incorporated there. So I have all of the main elements I used on the weeklies in each cluster there at the bottom in that first cluster I built out. So I will pretty much do a similar method here in the sidebar. Did put that one a little bit closer than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna add in a splotch sticker here. Just trying to figure out how to incorporate it. And I ended up putting it in vertically, which I wasn't planning on doing, but it worked out best because of the way I had cut it. And now I just need to figure out a quote, which probably should have used that "Rejoice in His mercy" quote there in the sidebar, but didn't really think about it in time. And I thought I would be using something in the first empty day of the month there as a quote. But then I changed my mind and decided to do a longer quote going down. And the only one that really worked for that was that faith, love, and hope quote. So just went ahead and cut it up and laid that into the sidebar. And then I'll also add in the little hearts that were connecting those words, maybe between the words, as a nice clustering effect of the whole quote. And that worked out really nicely. We'll go ahead and add some washi up here in the empty area. And I think that'll be a nice kind of finishing touch and balance well with the right corner. So I'll do that and layer it up. Figure out how I want that in there. I'm going to trim it right to the box edge. I think that looks good. We'll go ahead and do some trimming. See if there's anything else I want to add in. Maybe at the top. I'm not real sure right now. There's a bit of a hole here, so I think I want to fill it with something. So I'm going to add in this leaf sticker. Just kind of nestle it in there. And again, just do a little trimming. That helped a little bit fill out that gap. I have some of those extra pieces, but I'm just not finding a good home for them on this spread. But we're not done. We'll go ahead and add in some color as well. So I pulled those 4 brush tip markers and I'll use those to create some color with headers here on each of the days. The blue I had originally pulled was a little bit darker than I wanted, so I pulled another blue that worked out a lot better and kind of tied in more with the bright blue. And I'm just doing a rainbow coming out from the center out using the blue as the spine of the rainbow, mirroring things on each side. Okay, we're on to the next spread, which is going to be the final one we're setting up today. And this is my faith overview spread. This is a creation I made for my shop that is just very faith focused, but gives you a nice landing page for your monthly faith planning or journaling. So I already added in those same highlighters that I used on the monthly, as you saw on the previous spread. Also keeping with that rainbow color scheme there in my habit tracker area, and then just added a little line of orange there on the right. Working out again without the wax paper where I want these stickers to go and how I want them to layer up. I'm pretty much going to use all of the leaf stickers and the quote stickers that I have on this spread. I like to do that if I have just a couple of stickers. it's really hard to use them at a later date. So I'd like to use them all if I can on one spread or one theme. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and try to do here with the quotes and then with the leaves. I think I ended up with like 2 leaf stickers and a bunch of cut off pieces at the end, which normally I would have tried to use up, but I just couldn't really find a good home for them. But I definitely use up all the quotes, so you'll see how I bring those in. Just trying to figure out where I want specific colors. I am trying to add a little bit of orange into each of the clusters I'm making, just to tie in that color. Since there's not a lot of it in the leaf stickers, there's only like 2 leaf types that had the orange tones in them. So I wanted to make sure that that was very apparent, that there's some orange in each cluster. And this bottom one's turning out pretty well. It's kind of figuring out what works, layering that in. So I have 2 big quotes here that I can use left over. And I'm thinking I'm going to actually cut one up and use it top and bottom there on the left, and then use the other one on the right. So that's the plan, and we'll see how that turns out once I get some things settled here for placement. And that's looking good. One, I forgot what it's called. Is it gingham leaf? I don't know why I can't think of the name of that leaf style. It's not very common here in the United States, but it's found in Asia, and I guess the leaves change on those trees. Oh, ginkgo. I think it's ginkgo. Anyway, so that leaf is a little bit awkward because it's so large and fan-like, and it doesn't quite layer well. So we're going to see how we work that in. I laid it in, as you can see now, so we'll see if I like it or if I make adjustments. So here's that quote I cut up. It says that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So what I ended up doing was cutting out that first part of the quote, and then I'll continue it down on the bottom. There was a lead-in ellipses set of dots that I'm going to use to really kind of help show that progression down to the bottom. I've added in some of the washi now, starting with that gradient washi and then layering up the splotchier, colorful washi there, which I think looks good. Adds lots of color and life to this section of the planner. And we'll go ahead and do some trimming as well. We're getting close to the end here. I will need to clean out a few holes on this spread in particular because there are some stickers that kind of leaked into this spine. We'll get to that at the end. Making a few small adjustments here too on the edge of this cluster. Wanted to try to use up some of these cut off pieces, but I don't know if I can get those to really work where I'm thinking. They're just a tiny bit too small. I do have this one piece that's fairly large that I think I can sneak in a leaf here to fill in that gap, which I like. I have the splotch kind of separated out on that ginkgo leaf. It's still a little bit awkward, but I think that's as good as it's going to get with what I have left over. So I'll go ahead and clean out the holes. And once I'm done with that, you guys, we will be done, friends. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.